All right, I think it's time to come back and play some Tamiyo combo. It's one of my favorite archetypes of all time on Arena, and we're going to be trying a variant that should hopefully be able to take a couple of games here and there in Timeless. So this is a deck that basically is trying to facilitate a game plan that gets us to a situation where we are playing Nexus of Fate, redrawing into Nexus of Fate through some means, and taking extra turns until we win the game and kill our opponent. It's typically not going to be through like actual like combat damage or anything. We are basically trying to go into our sideboard with Mastermind's Acquisition to find a Jace and then self-mill ourselves and win. We can also win through Approach of the Second Sun. So it's basically, we're not really winning through combat. We are winning through alt win cons, and we do have those two in the sideboard. That should get around any sort of hand hate. It should get around any sort of discard and things like that. Okay, so here's what we're doing. In the original build of this deck, this was back in the historic days, we would always just facilitate things through Tamiyo. You ramp as fast as you can into a Tamiyo or your Wilderness Reclamation, which is your mana source, and you basically just try to use these two cards to find Nexus of Fate. In later versions of this deck, we pivoted to heavy card draw, and now we are kind of coming back to a point where we are in a somewhat aggro-heavy game, aggro-heavy meta with all the red-white energy going around and stuff like that. So we're still going to bring back the Haze of Pollens, although we are not running a full 8 copies of Fog Effects in this build. Haze of Pollen is here. We have some good blockers in the 1-drop slot. 2 0/3s with Arboreal Grazer and Tamiyo, which all can block flyers, so that's pretty relevant for keeping our life total high enough. And that will hopefully be able to get us to a point where we can draw our Haze of Pollens, or draw our Teferi's Protections, or draw our Supreme Verdicts, or get our Tamiyo onto the battlefield. Tamiyo is able to do a lot of cool things once on the battlefield. She allows us to dig 4 deep every turn for Nexus of Fate. We can also dig 4 deep for Haze of Pollen, or if we pay 3 loyalty points, then we can get a Haze of Pollen, Teferi's Protection, Supreme Verdict, whatever, back. So we basically have, like, you could call it 9 versions of things that stop aggro decks from being a problem for us. And so then we just need to work out how we're going to handle the rest of the decks in the format. When it comes to control and things like that, we're often just going to be going off in our end step, so they'll have to hold up mana. If they counter a Nexus of Fate, well, then that's just a card out of their hand, and eventually we'll combo through. We're a deck that once we get going, we do not stop, and we just win the game on the spot, so they will have to have those counter spells for Nexus of Fate. They'll have to counterspell our Wilderness Reclamation, and often people will be deploying things on turn 3 and 4 anyway, so sometimes we will find that opening. Some other cool things in this deck include, so I guess it's Tamiyo and Brainstorm are both in this. Tamiyo is surprisingly nice, especially if we are in those red-white energy deck matchups, because that +2 to give everything -1 and -0 is surprisingly relevant. It does keep us alive pretty well. Pretty easy to flip her with Brainstorm or any one of our other card draw things. Search for Skanta coming back. I used to play this so much in the blue-white control days of, I guess it would have been like 2019 or something like that, back when the original Ixalan came out. Those may not be the right years, but it was sometime around then. Regardless, though, Search for Skanta, pretty nice card. When you flip it into Skanta the Sunken Ruin, you get a really, really good repeatable top 4 for instant or sorcery, or I guess it's non-creature as well, so you can find like technically your Howling Mine or Planeswalkers. But we're typically looking for instant and sorceries with this one. Because we're untapping at end step with Wilderness Reclamation, it can actually be very good to have a Search for Skanta flipped on the battlefield. Then we also have Howling Mine. This one I did not ever play in this deck until recently, where I matched with this on the mirror, and they were running Howling Mine. And Howling Mine is a really, really good combo piece, or rather, it's a good piece of value to have during your combo turns. When you're Nexus of Fading and taking infinite turns, Howling Mine is just extra card draw for the low price of 2 mana. Plus, it actually has a game, like, for the rest of the matchup. If you just stick this, early, and you have to obviously dodge Bowmasters and stuff like that, Howling Mine can be a huge source of advantage for you. Teferi's Protection, Supreme Verdict need no introduction. Mastermind's Acquisition is how we're getting into the sideboard. And then Wilderness Reclamation and Tamiyo are kind of just our big 4-drops that we need to plan for. Obviously, our Boreal Grazer is going to be a big piece of how we get into that state. And in terms of ramp, we also get to run Discontinuity. This is both something that allows us to get our Lotus Fields into play. When we have 2 lands, able to cast Discontinuity for the 1 in a blue casting cost, we can just end our turn before Lotus Field causes us to sacrifice our lands, meaning that we get to essentially just have a Lotus for free. And then on the flip side, once we have 6 mana, we can just Discontinuity in our opponent's turn. It's as if we're time walking them, or playing a Haze of Pollen if they're an aggro deck. We can even Discontinuity in response to hand hate, counterspells, whatever. Okay, so that is basically the deck here. We are slightly in Bant with a slight splash for Teferi's Protection and Supreme Verdict. It's just basically going to be enough that we can search things out. The final deck list will be in the video description. I may make some slight changes here to the land space, but other than that, it's Tamiyo Turns time. Let's get into some games here. This episode of Full Control MTG is brought to you by Patreon and your viewership. If you want to support the channel financially, the Full Control MTG Patreon is the best place to do so. With a Shockland tier, you get access to videos as soon as they are recorded and edited. Don't wait to get your hands on another Full Control MTG deck list. Otherwise, it's your support for the channel that keeps me going. Thanks for being here and enjoy the video. Just a quick reference for you guys. The lands changes are just 1 of each fetch land so that we can make sure that we hit our white mana requirements. And I guess I'll also quickly talk about the sideboard. Pretty much just having access to Mastermind's Acquisition is going to be the main source of our power. Occasionally, we may want to make sure that their opponent does not have counter magic or anything. That's why we play 2 Mastermind's Acquisitions, so that the first one can go in, grab a Thoughtseize, and find our opponent's hand that way. Noxious Revival, pretty good because we can put something from our side back onto the battlefield. Mizzix's Mastery, recast like a Discontinuity or something from the grave, Supreme Verdict, Teferi's Protection, whatever. Kind of nice to have. 9 Lives Solemnity, in case we want to use our 2 Mastermind's Acquisitions to just lock the board down. Jace, Wielder of Mystery, obviously going to be our important one, as well as Approach of the Second Sun. You can also go Approach. If the second one gets countered, you can go Mizzix's Mastery from the graveyard, things like this. So, we have a couple lines to victory outside of our main combo. All right, so now let's hop into round 1. Okay, let's go. So round 1, starting out early here, we will have Discontinuity and Tamiyo as our likely unplayable for the first few turns draws. We can, however, see what happens if both players draw an extra 2 times each turn. As long as they don't have a Bowmasters or Shieldred, it is not the end of the world. Bloodstained Mire, a scary fetch to see. This is possibly Thoughtseize, except no, it's not. It is a Surveil 2. I'm not particularly scared here. We are, just in platinum rank right now, so like nothing super insane going down. You love to see it, not playing Omnishow every matchup. Windswept Heath could be tricolor. Let's see if they have white. Feeling like it could be some Absent Graveyard thing. No, guess it's not. Oh, this is actually just the Jet Medallion combo deck. Okay, so everyone's drawn a bunch of cards here. We now have Lotus Field Discontinuity. That is probably our play. That means we'll have 5 mana, 6 mana next turn. It's just not enough to play Nexus of Fate, but we can get a Tamiyo out. Yeah, and that's actually okay because then we have Tamiyo Howling Mine. That is a perfect 1-2 punch here. So let's go ahead and hold full control here. We will drop the Lotus Field and then go Discontinuity. All right. We have effectively ramped. And we're almost at an Nexus of Fate. The question is, how close is our opponent to killing us? They need Chthonian Nightmare. And they need 2 things that on exit are going to make mana. There are a lot of those. Diabolic Intent, so they'll find one of them here. And if they have another Diabolic Intent or one of the 2 combo pieces in hand, I believe we're dead. Bowmaster is also problematic. Like, they could have just searched for that. So now we have our Boreal Grazer and Mastermind's Acquisition. Does that change my play at all? Well, if I had Phyrexian Unlife, Mastermind's Acquisition could be kind of a good sideboard pick, but we are not playing that version of the Solemnity 9 Lives combo. So am I just going land our Boreal Grazer, drop Windswept Heath? Then only have 5 mana, but then that just means that I don't play Howling Mine. That could be okay. Howling Mine, Tamiyo. Is it worth it to get another land into play? I guess I want to avoid them overdrawing because they're very close to killing me. So that means I believe the Temple Garden can go untapped. Okay, I'm going to have to tap a little differently. No, I do need to shock the Temple Garden. Okay. So here's Tamiyo. Is Tamiyo searching for anything in particular? Probably Wilderness Wreck is our biggest one that we want to find. Do not find it. Nothing necessarily that we want to bring back. Teferi's Protection, possibly. Then I think we are just shocking here, getting a Grazer in. Alright, cool. So we can cast Nexus of Fate next turn. We can Mastermind's Acquisition for something. Tamiyo also can hopefully hit a Grazer. Jet Medallion number 2. That kind of makes me think they don't have a kill yet, or they were maybe just checking for counter magic. So that's Priest of Gix times 2. I believe they just start going with Chthonian Nightmare here. Meathook Massacre, sure. And that will be, I believe, the game. So this is now Chthonian Nightmare brings something back, sacking the Gix. Then the Gix and Chthonian Nightmares just go back and forth. I lose a life with every Meathook activation. So let's watch our opponent do a couple of iterations of this just to make sure they know they've got it. We have given away all priority here, so they're just free to do their thing. Rubble Belt allowing them to kind of dig a little further. Seems all right. And then they make enough energy with each Chthonian Nightmare play to get exactly Priest of Gix back, going even on mana, or getting like a Stitcher Supply or whatever and going positive. And they know that it is Priest of Gix, so I think I will probably just go ahead and concede here. This is just a really annoying one for them to click through. And, you know, some people might make them, pay for their win, but we will just let them have it here. We'll move to round 2 and hopefully get our combo off. We were very, very close, got our mana for Nexus, but we're still a few pieces away from actually comboing. But by the end of this video, hopefully we will have done it at least once. Let's try round 2. Okay, it is round 2. We have a Wilderness Reclamation. We do have a Lotus Field. The Lotus Field not looking super ideal right now. I think we do need to mulligan this one. It's going to be a hard way to get to 4 lands this way. Discontinuity's fine. This is an alright hand, I guess. We will eventually get to this Wilderness Wreck. Assuming that these resolve, then we are good for a lot of the things that we draw. The first Wilderness Wreck is always the most important one. We see a Bloodstained Mire here. We are insulated against one Thoughtseize, but a Grief Scam would be bad. They'll go for Gamble. And they discard Buried Alive, which might have been their target here. Cool. And due to the way that Gamble works, we're going to take round 2. But we're going to re-record round 2 because that doesn't count. That was too short. So I guess kind of a little bit of thoughts about how the deck's been going so far. I've played one game now off of camera that was just very, very slow. The combo turn is just kind of like a long one. Opponent kind of roped a bunch, so I didn't feel like I would be able to include it. So we're kind of just going back again here, knowing that, you know, it is possible to combo in Timeless. Speaking of which, this is a great hand to try to do so. Turn 2 Search, possibly turn 1 Brainstorm, but I don't think we're interested in the Brainstorm right now. Flooded Strand here. We can decide if we want to draw cards here, but not much shuffling to be had. Alright, so they will just draw here a bunch of creatures. I mean, our Haze of Pollen's going to be pretty good once I start casting spells next turn. Might just have to hold that up. I think actually I do play the Search for Escanta anyway. Okay, so color-wise, we do need a second white. We do need blue, so Hollowed Fountain will be the move. Go to turn here, and yeah, I think that the move is Shock, play Search. We eat a bunch of life, but hopefully they don't kill us here. Then we get to go Haze of Pollen one turn, Wilderness Wreck the next, hopefully. It's going to kind of be important that we find our Rainstorm here. They actually just attack for 3. We might have an extra turn. We must find a land here. Has to be a land. They're holding priority here. Might be the Flame of the Nor. I believe they do have... Oh, no wizards. Okay, so could maybe be Flame of the Nor. Who knows? Could also just be 3 lightning bolts. You never know. It also could be a rope here. We will take this breeding pool, and so the question is, do we want Brainstorm as well as Haze of Pollen? We can Brainstorm on our next turn, I guess. Well, actually, that's not true. I think we do want it shocked. Yeah, we will play it shocked. We want to Brainstorm, end step, set up our Wilderness Wreck. Going to be kind of cutting it close here on the life total. We'll have to see what they end up playing. We pass here. See if they don't end step any direct damage. That's good. They're probably trying to calculate how easily they can kill me this turn. It should just be 1 spell, 2 spell, and then they plan to win. It'll be a Ragavan. They're dashing it, which is actually really good. We'll wait for attacks. Then we go Haze of Pollen. Here will prevent combat damage. That means that Ragavan is essentially nothing here. That was 2 mana to do absolutely 0. And we're still around with 9 life. That's pretty good. And they'll just go to end step here. We will get to have our Brainstorm. Let's do that. Need a land here, and ideally another Fog. Well, there's 3 lands. That's sure something. We will just end up being something like this. Take the blue producing land. Let that resolve. Now we might have shields down here for 1 turn, which is awkward. I can draw through 2 here. Okay, I guess I will actually surveil it with Search for Escanta. Kind of wish I had sequenced those the other way. So we shock Temple Garden here. We get Wilderness Wreck. Oh boy, is that going to put me too close to death? So I shock this, then Wilderness Wreck allows me to Brainstorm, and then I just have to pray that I find a Teferi's Protection or one of my 3 other Haze of Pollens. Okay, we're going to be playing a little bit close to the sun here. There's Wilderness Wreck. Go to end step on top, and we will say go. So if we survive this turn, we do have 1 Nexus of Fate turn with a 2nd Wilderness Wreck online. That's not bad. All right, so they go to combat here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, huh? Do I draw for it now? I think I need to. And then I just have to pray that they don't have direct damage in these 3 cards, but they must have it, so I think I need to find something here. They're holding some form of direct damage, so I think I'm right to do this pre-combat, or pre-damage. They're taking a minute on letting this Brainstorm resolve. You don't live to see it. Okay, we get it here, and those are not the cards that we were hoping for. That's so sad. Okay, so Misty Rainforest can shuffle something away. That'll be the thing that we draw, and then I think we're shuffling away probably this white producing source. Okay. Is the last card in their hand direct damage? Let's see. Probably, right? Go to 2. Exile my land. Okay, so I forgot that I would need to sequence that as well. Possible misplay. We're probably just shuffling that away with Search for Content anyway. Oh, we get our turn back. Unfortunately, not enough to flip Search for Content. We need one more turn, but we will get it on our Nexus of Fate turn. Okay, so Castle Vantress, that means that we can go Wilderness Wreck and our Boreal Grazer. We'll set a stop at end of turn for Nexus of Fate. I think they're probably just holding up something that kills me here. In terms of what we're sacking, let's get rid of the 2 Temple Gardens. And then we'll move to end step here, and we'll take a Nexus of Fate turn. We will then flip our search next turn, 100% of the time, and we're going to use 2 Wilderness Wreck triggers to look for something that allows us to survive. Now that is, of course, if they don't kill me now. Okay. Resolve the first one. QQ float our mana. Resolve second, and Nexus. Nexus of Fate, and we can Castle Vantress as well. Let's see if the Nexus resolves. I think they have the kill here. No, they don't. Wow. We are now fully tapped out. They have priority on something. Like, I think they're just waiting to see the combo, no? I'm confused. I think we're supposed to be dead, but somehow we're not. We scry 2 away. That feels good. And then now we go to turn. Now do I die? What are they holding priority on? Is it literally just the sack of the treasure for mana? There must be a spell that they can cast. 4 cards, what have we seen in the deck so far? Just a Scalding Tarn? I mean, you're telling me they play Monastery, Swift Spirit, a Prowess creature, and not a bunch of lightning bolts and stuff? I think we're totally dead. I don't believe it for 1 second. Alright, here's Search. Maybe they have like sorcery speed stuff. I don't really know. Do we want a Tamiyo here? Tamiyo, return Haze of Pollen. That is that's a way to win. We'll transform of always. Here's Tamiyo. Get her going main phase. And then we will go ahead and probably just return. It has to be Haze of Pollen. And then the good thing about this is we can, in our end step, do some Wilderness Wreck stuff. No attacks always. We end turn. Hit a quick QQ. And then now we do an Azcanta trigger. Seeing what we find. Discontinuity is one that we want to have on their turn, and we can actually activate it. Perfect. And then, so I guess that means we will do 1 Castle Vantress Scry. Setting up for our next turn. We'll set a stop in their upkeep and continue going. Teferi's Protection is good. Wilderness Wreck is good as well. Wilderness Wreck means that we get to go for more Azcanta flips. All right, cool. And then we let the last one go. And now we pass turn. Every time they hold priority here, I feel like I'm dead. We go to my end step. They're still holding priority. What happens now? Do I still die? What's good? We are on a very, very rickety turns combo right now. I think at any point we are just dead when opponent decides they don't want to see my combo anymore. What is going on? I'd like to fully execute it, but you never know with these sort of long-winded combo turns. All right, so in their turn, now we go Discontinuity. Okay, Searing Blood. Surprised that they didn't do that earlier, but yeah, it is what it is. We also see Skullcrack, I think that was. Yeah. Okay, so they definitely had the facility to kill me. Fine. I guess there's never a chance that they do that in their in their main phase, or there's never a chance they Searing Blood twice prior to drawing a card. I was basically just playing around the weird case where they didn't have a bolt in hand. Okay, well, that was definitely something that we were supposed to lose, but we did get to see some flashes of greatness there. Let's go to round 3 and try to get a legitimate win in. Okay, round 3. Here we are. What do we think about this one? It's a one-lander. That's probably not very good. Like I said, one-lander, not my favorite thing in the world. Let's go to 5. Our chances of winning go down significantly in a situation like this. Lotus Field, unfortunately, will just not be playable. So this is, again, functionally a one-lander. We have to go down one more time, where we find yet another Lotus Field. Let's try again. Yet another one land. I mean, I'm going until I get more than 2 functional lands here. I guess technically this is it. We could get a Lotus Field onto the battlefield. However, this does not cast anything. We would literally be keeping one land in like a brainstorm. Let's, for some like sick pleasure here, see what happens if I were to take this 2 card hand. Yeah, this thing feels like I just punted the game away in a very similar fashion. Here's Hollowed Fountain. Let's go tapped for now. Mono blue here, probably counterspell. Somehow we did draw a land despite going down to 2. That feels nice. End step brainstorm I'm feeling. Vodalian Hexcatcher, maybe not my favorite thing. It is Merfolk. Are we getting Blood Moon, Blue Blood Moon? There is Harbinger of the Seas. All right, fine. That's okay. We do have a lot of blue, I guess, in our deck. But yeah, now we don't have any access to white, which is a problem. Luckily, we have our green, so that means that most of the things that we actually care about can work. Supreme Verdict and Teferi's Protection, both terrible cards right now. We will probably be shuffling them away here. We will draw the Teferi's Protection, which is fine. I'd rather have that than Supreme Verdict. Oh, but yeah, actually it doesn't matter because of Windswept Heath. So I think this is just going to turn into a Merfolk showcase. I think that I'm going to include this game in the series because going down to 2 cards is crazy, man. Oh my god. It's not like we play a very low amount of lands in this deck. Like, we are pretty responsible with that. Just sometimes you do get unlucky. That shuffler be having an agenda sometimes. Yeah, anyway, looking pretty good on mono blue Merfolk here. Harbinger on time and all the lords in the world. That will be a very, very quick round 3 for us. I think round 4 and 5, even if we don't get it right away, I'm going to play some games until we get a nice showcase of what our deck can do. All right, it is round 4. It's time to get a good game in. Let's try this. Arbor Grazer turn 1, turn 2 Brainstorm. Hopefully find another land. I guess I'm down. Discontinuity is online for a Lotus Field draw. This definitely feels better than last round with the two card hand. Early Windswept Heath. Red green Ponza is on the menu. Luckily we're doing a little rampy here. Put this Vantress down tapped. And I guess we will at least be on curve if we can draw land when we get Stone Rained. Elvish Mystic, I mean, either ramp into some big things, it could be Sneak Attack, but then why would you be playing Elvish Mystic? Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit confused as to what's going on. Am I brainstorming anything away here? I guess I have Teferi's Protection in case this is Ponza. I guess we pass. Five mana. It is Goldspan Dragon. Okay. Well. Guess I don't really care to take the 4 damage. They can attack anyway and get their treasure. I think I'm just brainstorming here. We'll take the 4. Feels bad, but we will take it. We do know now that if we can find a Wilderness Wreck and a land, we're kind of okay. Guess I don't have to keep the Grazer around. I'll wait a turn to chump block with it, though. I think we go to mine. Here's Brainstorm. I'd like a fetch land. We don't play many of them, but, you know, it is potentially nice. 2 cards into Library with no shuffle. I'll put the Discontinuity and Nexus back. Discontinuity is not as good as Nexus. Move to turn. Is it Tamiyo time? Tamiyo does die, so I think we do not bother. Here's Tamiyo. Here's Grazer. And let's put the Hollow Fountain in tapped. Alright, not ideal. Not gonna lie, we also have some yard work going on outside. No attacks. Alright, say go. If they attack with the gold span, we have Tamiyo attack back, make a clue. That would actually be nice given the situation I'm in. Domri, Anarch of Bolas. This is not something that you often see. Goldspan fights my Tamiyo, I guess. Darn. Chandra TOD. Wow. We are really doing it today, aren't we? Minus Steel 4, yep. And then Goldspan may as well just put me to 11. They now have a good amount of mana still. I mean, yeah, okay, so just big rule. Big rule with Planeswalkers. Not a bad thing to be doing. There's my discontinuity. I guess we have Teferi's Protection now. Tamiyo does not currently die. Tamiyo does not currently die. I'm going to try Tamiyo. Tamiyo can go for Wilderness Wreck. Tamiyo has to go for Wilderness Wreck. We find it. Okay, that's huge. So that means next turn we have Wilderness Wreck into Teferi's Protection, then the following turn Nexus of Fate. Okay. And then all the while, if Tamiyo survives, we can be in a good spot here. Opponent's got 2 cards. As long as they don't get haste somehow. Well, that's a problem. Okay, they're out of cards. Okay, luckily... Okay, they missed lethal. Sadly, no Teferi's Protection here. It is what it is. We are only at 9. That's not terrible. Supreme Verdict. All of a sudden, that was really, really good. So I think I want Wilderness Wreck first. Just gives me more value here. So we beat removal here. We don't beat a Chandra Plus, which is awkward. They will attack first. Okay. It is now time to Teferi's Protection. Alright. So we're not here anymore. Nobody's home. We will survive until next turn where we can Supreme Verdict. Hopefully they play another creature. You got it. And that looked like a creature here. Bristly Bill comes to play. And was it a land in hand? Or are they casting a card? Alright, so we destroy the board this turn. Unless we want to draw with Nexus of Fate. I think I'm going to draw with Nexus of Fate, then the following turn Supreme Verdict. Or we can even just like play it slow with the Teferi's Protection. But now it's our time to take a bunch of turns. So we'll end turn here, trigger on the stack, float mana, play Nexus. All right, there we are. No responses yet. All right, let's have this be the start of something good, ideally. Discontinuity, not good until we get a few more lands. We pass through here. And we do the Teferi's Protection thing again, save up for a big Supreme Verdict. Things become bad, though, when Chandra does the -3. Actually, the -3 is just a creature, so that's okay. Yeah, it's the +1 that when they don't cast, that's an issue. We'll look to see again if they do it pre-combat. If they do, that's good for us. Great Henge. That's not my favorite thing because Great Henge and Bristly Bill are kind of nuts together. Okay. They will continue to be casting these. I mean, it makes sense. They have so much mana. Now they draw cards. Trigger, you got it. Yeah, I think we're definitely going for Supreme Verdict next turn off of our Teferi's Protection. Kind of need to draw some lands here. We need 2 turns of drawing lands. We're very, very close, though. Windswept Heath, fine. A Surveil here. Let's do a card count real quick. We are winning on decking. Currently, that is. Alright, we're doubling counters, sure. Wait again for attackers, then Teferi's Protection. And we are playing the slow fog deck for sure here. That is sometimes a pain point for the others. Alright, they got a bunch of tap stuff now. It'd be nice if we played Farewell, because I'd like to clean up the Planeswalkers, but, you know, it is what it is. Supreme Verdict will be just good enough here. Misty Rainforest, alright. That's just in time. We rock a Supreme Verdict here. 1 more land, and our discontinuities are basically turning into card draws. Okay, so misplay here. I could have had a Castle Vantress trigger. Now I'm going to have to shock the Misty Rainforest. I think that's still worth it to do because if I can get discontinuity online, that is worth 2 cards being unlocked out of my hand. They go for ++ red. That's bad. Okay, Goldspan's got haste. I'd be going to 6. I would still survive unless I have another Goldspan. Oh, okay, well now I don't. Now I can't Misty Rainforest. I cannot Castle Vantress. Ooh, that was pretty costly then that I didn't Misty before my Wilderness Wreck trigger went off. Kind of thought I had a chance to wait. Though I could get a basic. I think I do have a basic. Just no more haste. That's it. Ah, Goldspan number 2. Problematic. Looks like we're going to die here. Opponent gave us a good showing here with their Gruul mid-range deck. Kind of cool to see this sort of archetype come back. Bristly Bill, definitely not been any of these shells prior to this. I guess I could have taken a basic and actually looked at my deck. Oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, Bristly Bill in red-green mid-range. Kind of sick. Do love a Lotus Cobra build. I guess we're just kind of pretty heavy on landfall here. I wonder if there's any other landfall cards in this other than Lotus and Bristly Bill. Regardless, pretty cool deck here. Opponent will take us out with Goldspan Dragon. Goldspan Dragon, a card I don't get to play with very often. Maybe we'll have to give this list a try. That being said, though, we will get taken out in round 4. Got 1 more chance here. Let's try to make my favorite deck of all time on Arena work. If not, maybe it's time to hang it up. Who knows? All right. Well, it's kind of been a disappointing first couple of rounds here. And I think things are going to continue here. We might need to just try to get Howling Mine out and then just work off of a Brainstorm. This Lotus Field is not initially castable, but we do have the colors to eventually play it. This seems playable. We'll go turn 2, just play the Howling Mine. No acceleration into Wilderness Wreck, but hopefully once we actually get there, it'll be okay. Notably, Mastermind's Acquisition only playable off of our Lotus Field. That is always something to think about. Here's Howling Mine. Let's see if they like having card draw. I'm sure that they do. Red, blue, black, founding the third path. We are milling here. Okay, so luckily for us, we don't care. Okay, it's self-mill. Darn. It's actually self-mill with Gaia's Blessing. And what did I see? I saw the Dual Caster Mage combo. Okay. We have now our Lotus Field play, so that's actually kind of nice. We'll hold full control here, go Lotus Field. In response, discontinuity, auto pay. Say go. All right, cool. So that feels pretty good. Now we're pretty set up here with our Wilderness Wreck this turn. I believe that's actually enough to Nexus of Fate this turn. We see Delve, Trample. Okay. Yeah, so they're reanimating stuff here. We just have to beat them to their reanimation turn. I think they have reanimate here, though. Okay, just Hooting Mandrills. Fine. Founding. Oh, what are we neo? Oh, we're neoforming into Atraxa. I love that. That's so sick. Oh, that's so good. 5/6, yeah, it must be Atraxa, right? No, it's Atali. Oh, dude, so cool. Atali finds Treasure Cruise and my Nexus of Fate. Oh, dude, so good. Wow. And they even, let's see, they exile, they may cast, so I believe this goes into my library. And what are we casting? They can Treasure Cruise again? No, they cannot. Okay. They needed to stack that a little bit differently. I'm loving the spice on this thing. This is a very, very cool deck. Hooting Mandrills into Neo form. That's reminiscent of the modern deck that plays Allosaurus Shepherd, I believe, in order to get into Grizzlebrand. Sultai Scavenger. Oh, we are totally in Delve. Wow, this is sick. They mill us now. They've revealed 2 Nexus of Fates. They see a bunch of cards into the graveyard, including one of our 2 Masterminds acquisitions. We draw extra off of Howling Mine, and then here we go. So let's drop a green source here. We have colors for Nexus. We go Wilderness Wreck. Hold priority at the end step. I think we just go trivially here for just a Nexus. We'll QQ. We'll play Nexus, and then we'll have enough left over for our Brainstorm as well. Let's do that. Wilderness Wreck number 2 and 3 plus Haze of Pollen. I love it. Take a land off the top. Make sure our colors are good. This Haze of Pollen kind of needs to facilitate pretty well for us. We do end up finding another land. Did not need that. That's Teferi's Protection. Feels good now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is Wilderness Wreck mana. And then none of these things are really playing on end step. However, we will make use of our Castle Vantress triggers. Wish I had tapped a little differently then. Oops. We will resolve this. Then we will get 1 Vantress in. Resolve. Discontinuity on their turn. That actually feels pretty good. I am worried about attacks. Atali is just an attack though, so Teferi's Protection will work. We'll scry away the Grazer. I think discontinuity is a fine find, but we do already have 2 things that slow them down, so maybe I actually go a little bit further here. Let's make sure that we pop for blue here. Resolve, and then the mana works out that I can Castle Vantress and Teferi's Protection. Sweet. Lotus Field Brainstorm. I think I'd rather have a Brainstorm, especially because we can scry so much with Vantress, so this is fine. Cool. So we move to their turn. I guess I did give them an extra card here. We can see what they would want to play here. So targeting me. Okay, so I think I go to Teferi's Protection here. Okay, no mill. We have another wreck coming down next turn. Hopefully off of Castle Vantress we can make this work. Booting Mandrill's number 4. Or actually, how many was that? 3, I think. Saw 1, 2. Yeah, that's the third one. Never mind. All right, don't bother attacks. We put a stop on our end step. We have a Tamiyo. I repeat, we have a Tamiyo. Okay, so we would much rather have Tamiyo in hand here, or we would much rather have Tamiyo on the battlefield here. What are we looking for? I think that we were probably either looking for taking another turn here or just going for grabbing that Search for Riscanta back. The only awkwardness is that we only have 1 blue mana untapped here. That's unfortunate. So regardless, Haze of Pollen is a move. Let's get the Search for Riscanta back. Just gives us more looks here down the stretch. Move to end step here. Floating mana, resolve the first one. Now, shall we do our Brainstorm first? We can hide away at least Mastermind's Acquisition and one other thing, so that's fine. Let that resolve first. Supreme Verdict versus Lotus Field. I think we get rid of Lotus Field, Mastermind's Acquisition. Vantress, scry away these 2. 1, 2. And then don't need to float anything. We'll just go to their end step. We'll Haze of Pollen here to survive. Okay, let the attacks happen. Nothing has an attack trigger. They do have the potential to, for 9 mana, flip him, but that's not going to happen. So we'll let them attack in. They are looking for lethal and for killing Tamiyo. We have double Haze of Pollen here. Beautiful. Just eat that attack. And then we get to potentially set up for our next turn here with Vantress. They will mill us for 10 here. That's fine. That's completely fine. We'll let the mill happen first. We got a 28. They reveal triple Nexus of Fate here. 28 cards left. Tamiyo cannot currently get back Mastermind's Acquisition, but we... Did we exile one? No, we just exile. Oh, we shuffled it back. That's right. We put it away. Okay. I think we can do it here. Looks like they're going to end step. 3 mana. Does not cast counterspell. It's just going to be Faithless Looting. Okay. Setting up some more delve. Okay, my turn. We Vantress here. 28 cards left in library. We have a ways to go in order to combo kill. We have Tamiyo. Tamiyo gets back Jace. We are still looking for Nexus of Fate. I can Legend Rule Tamiyo and search 8 deep. I think I like the idea of that. So I'll take my draws. And we also get the Wilderness Wreck too, which is nice. We will transform our search. That leaves me with 3, 6, 7, 8. That is enough for both of these. So we go plus on Nexus. Where's the Nexus? Nexus of Fate. No hits. That's fine. We go Wilderness Wreck here, making sure to set a stop on our end step. We go for Tamiyo number 2. And we go for Wilderness Wreck yet again. And now we are just looking for the kill here. So Nexus of Fate. That is 18 cards left in library. We will resolve the first one. We will Escanta here. See if we can find it. We do find a Nexus of Fate here, so now we will QQ. Resolve. We will Escanta here again, looking for another. We find another Nexus. And I believe this is where we start going off here. Resolve. Continue to QQ, Resolve, and Nexus. Here we are. 2 extra turns. So now I believe we are looking good. So Howling Mind, we draw another Nexus main phase. Here we are. We will return a card from the graveyard to hand. It will be Mastermind's Acquisition. We will, with Mastermind's Acquisition, go into the sideboard, grab our Jace. We could even Thoughtseize potentially, but I'm not going to bother right now. Here's Jace. Jace cannot be played right now. We will instead then go Wilderness Wreck here, set a stop at end step, resolve, Nexus. We don't have to be too clean about this. Resolve, Nexus. All right, we are stacking these turns now. We should have it here. Azcanta, look deep. Nexus. Float, Azcanta. Find Nexus. And one more Nexus. And pass turn, go to turn, draw some more cards here. 15 cards left now. Now we play our Jace. And then we just continue to go for Search for Scontas here. So the game's about trivial here. We just have to finish executing. Thank you so much to opponent for sticking around here. You love to see it. Azcanta, look. Next Fate. Sure. Then we will Jace. Target player mills 2. Draw a card down to 7 in hand. We will just play the Temple Garden in tapped. Move down step. That's Nexus. Resolve, Nexus. Make sure to just float our mana here. Untap, Nexus. Float our mana here. Resolve the last one, Nexus. And then we'll also activate Azcanta here. Probably want to let that Nexus resolve, but we have so many turns it doesn't matter. Cool. So here we are. So now we are at a situation where we need to draw through the rest of our library. There are 10 cards left. So we will just probably use the rest of our 6 turns to just draw through. We will start to pick up all of our Nexus of Fates here. Down to 4 cards. Target player mills 2, and that means that our next Tamiyo will be a good one. We'll just move to end step here, and we will continue to draw things with Azcanta. That's fine. Oh, that's just our only thing here. We resolve all these, and then we will mill 2, draw a card, and we win the game. Thank you, opponent, for sticking around here. They really did not need to, like most of our opponents have prior to this. But I am so happy that we were able to make this work and get a Jace Wielder of Mysteries Tamiyo Nexus kill. Oh my god, it feels nice. It is like I'm back in 2019, 2020 playing Arena for like the first time. And grinding this deck when it was legal in Standard, back when Nexus of Fate was a thing. That was probably 2019, 2020. Yeah, crazy to think about how long ago that was. With that being said, thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys would like to play and iterate on this deck for yourselves, the deck list is in the video description. Thanks for sticking around and watching the video. It means a lot that I have your support here. With that being said, I guess I'll just see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.